Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be doing another entry in the Will It Fail series, and we are going to be looking at Sonic the Hedgehog, which is due to hit theaters on Valentine's Day weekend. Um, like our usual Will It Fail videos, we're going to kind of do the usual breakdown and go through it, and we'll see if this film, at least on paper, has the financials to make a profit. So now that we're gonna get into that, let's go right on into the director. And the director's name is Jeff Fowler. Now the thing is that um, I'm gonna give him a little bit of a pass because the actual budget for this film is a lot lower than sometimes we see. I take a lot off for rookie directors with a $200 million budget. And while he obviously does not have $200 million for this film, he does have kind of a sizable budget, but it's not going to be as much of a penalty as I normally do. But I will say this: Sonic the Hedgehog appears to be the only full-length film that he has as a directing credit. The only other one being a film called Gopher Broke, Gopher spelled Gopher. And that is a short, so it's not the same thing, even though it is kind of dabbling into the animated foray because it looks like a 3D animated film. Um, so I got to take points off of that. But the thing is that this director was actually willing to listen to the people that were very upset with the early stuff with the Sonic trailers before the redesign took place. And the redesign that actually wound up pushing this film back, I believe, 3 to 4 months. I think it was originally supposed to come out in 2019. And he was actually willing to listen to those people that had problems with it, had legitimate problems with it. And he changed it, which I think shows that he at least has some good decision-making skills as a director. He knows when he's making something that maybe he might like, but he has to kind of think of like the idea of, are the people that are fans of Sonic going to like this, yes or no? So I think that he was conscious enough of his surroundings and the people that were involved in the franchise and the reaction of that initial trailer that came out, and he was willing to say, okay, we fucked up. We're gonna redesign it. And we're gonna premiere it again, and we're gonna see what you think. So it was honestly a really, really good decision by him. So I got to give him props for that. So I can't really take too much away or give too much to him. So he's kind of a break-even point. And now we go into the cast of the film. And the cast of the film, there's a couple of like standout type of things, but let's just kind of go into it. So obviously, the biggest actor who's on this set is Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey plays Dr. Robotnik, who's the main antagonist to Sonic the Hedgehog. So when you see him in the trailer, he's very goofy. He does that Jim Carrey thing that Jim Carrey does so well, where he kind of turns himself into a living, breathing cartoon. And it's a really, really kind of good character to do that with because he's so over the top and it would make sense. The stuff that we have seen in the trailers with him has been really funny. So again, I got to give him points for that. Getting Jim Carrey back in normal Jim Carrey form is actually something to, kind of be proud of at this point because Jim Carrey's kind of had an absence from the screen as of late. He has a few movie projects that have been going on, but he hasn't been really around all that much. And that's the other thing too, is that even though it's really good to see Jim Carrey in this movie, there's not really a whole other lot of star power that's pushing this thing. You have James Marsden, who, Cyclops from the earlier X-Men films, and, sprinkled in a few other films here and there. Nothing that really totally stands out. He's not a name that sells tickets, let's put it that way. And then you go and you look at the voice of Sonic, who again, not really anybody that a lot of people are going to know. So there's not a lot going on in terms of the cast outside of Jim Carrey. So the thing is that this isn't the late 90s, early 2000s. Jim Carrey does not have the same kind of audience draw that he once did because he's been so absent from films for the last 10 years. He's been doing a lot of painting and other stuff like that. But I got to take points off for the cast because there's really not, other than Jim Carrey, there's not a lot there to kind of be excited about. And even though James Marsden kind of does his job in the trailers, there's nothing that stands out to me. for him. And the Sonic actor too. He has a few good, funny little jokes in there at times, but again, nothing outstanding about what I expect. Um, so now that we're gone through that, let's kind of take a look at the media for this and kind of what we've seen so far before we skip on down to the budget and for any kind of PR stuff. So the whole thing with the film is that the first trailer came out. Everybody hated it because Sonic looked like nightmare fuel. They tried to make him kind of realistic, and it didn't work. The eyes were all messed up, the legs, the arms, all the dimensions were not right, and it did not sit well with a lot of people, and it looked extremely creepy. It actually led to a very creepy little meme that popped up of the Sonic making the O face. But you know, that early trailer had such a bad reaction, and then of course the director Jeff Fowler came out and said, "Okay, we're going to do a redesign, and we're going to come back, and we're going to see if you guys like that." And they did premiere the redesign in the second trailer, which I actually did a full breakdown of, and the redesign was actually very good. It was very true to the original design of Sonic. Apparently, we found out that that was the original design that the visual effects studio wanted to go with before they were overridden by the director for the original design. So it was probably a lot easier for them to kind of go back to that and start mapping some stuff out with that. Being that they were already kind of introduced to that design already, they didn't have to start from scratch and redo every single thing that they did when they made him photorealistic. But reportedly, it also did add about $5 million to the budget, and like I said before, it did push the release date of the film back a little bit because they had to account for the redesigning of him in the entire film. So the second trailer comes out. Second trailer is a lot more well received, and the thing is that this is coming out on Valentine's Day weekend. The only other thing that's going to be in theaters that weekend is Birds of Prey. It'll be on its second weekend, and it's one of those things. I think Sonic could very easily crush that. I think they could wipe them off the map very easily because I don't think Birds of Prey is going to have a particularly strong first weekend to begin with, even though it's going to be the only major film released that weekend. So leading into the second weekend, I think Sonic will easily be able to overcome that, and they will most likely win the weekend. Because, again, it's Valentine's Day, you know, it's going to be something like, you know, mom and dad want to go on a date, but they can't get something for the kids. All right, let's go watch Sonic the Hedgehog and maybe laugh at something stupid. You know, that's really the kind of thing. Because otherwise, Valentine's Day is normally dominated by romantic comedies, but this year we do not have that. So overall, the going through all of that, now we get down to the budget. And the budget for this film is estimated to be at about $95 million. And that is with $5 million additionally tacked on for all the CGI work that had to be done for the redesign of Sonic. So, given that, we can probably guess that this film is going to probably break even at around $250 million. Everything after that is going to be profit. So, here's the thing. This is probably going to run big in the United States on that weekend. Because again, there's not going to be a whole lot else in theaters. I think it'll do fine in the European market. It might do okay in the Chinese market. I don't know if this has a China premiere on it. It might. If it doesn't, then obviously that market is excluded from this. But the Japanese market and the Korean market are going to be two other ones that they look at because again, Sonic is a product of I believe Sony Studios Sega. So, which if I remember correctly, I believe Sega is a Japanese company. So it's going to be interesting to see that and see how that opens, but I think it'll have a strong opening weekend. I think you can expect something in around maybe the 70 million range, something like that. So nothing too outrageous. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe between 50 and 70 million is probably what you're going to see for the opening weekend. And I think this film will make a little bit of a profit because of the foreign numbers. So you're probably going to see it hit about the 300 million mark. I don't expect it to make any more than that. They're already projecting that it is going to do less than Detective Pikachu, which I believe made somewhere in the 350 to 400 million range. So I would expect it to probably crap out somewhere around between 280 and 300 million, maybe a little bit over 300 million at the high end. So that would be kind of interesting. Again, I think it would probably do maybe if they have a good enough response, maybe home sales, they could probably greenlight a sequel to it. But aside from that, I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a little tiny bit of a profit, but not much. It's going to be just over breaking even. So I want to know what you guys think, though. Do you think that the new Sonic movie, are you excited for it? Are you happy about the redesign? Do you not give a shit? And what do you think it's going to make on through its theatrical run? Again, as usual, put your thoughts in the comments below. I like to read them. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?